Good morning. Today we're going to be building a wonderful bank for the city of Thaldrim. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and welcome back to MorningCraft. We're here on top of the plateau in the city of Thaldrim, and we're going to be building a bank to store all of the Viking treasure. Of course, we're going to be putting the bank on top of the plateau, as obviously you want it to be pretty hard to reach in case you get invaded. You don't want anyone running off with all of your gold, and so the plateau is the place to be. I'm going to be building it in this corner section just off from the marketplace, and I've put in place a stone foundation for it to sit upon. Look at the light rays from that sunset. Isn't that beautiful? So let's get on with construction. One of the materials I haven't really used in a while is sandstone. We used that for the monastery, and now for the first time in a while we're going to be using it on this bank. And so I'm going to get to work on building this bank on top of our stone foundation. We're going to be starting off with some grand pillars which sit outside at the very front of the bank. And we're going to be extending these pillars up into the sky and adding a bunch of detail as we go. You can see I've done a little bit of terraforming, including a staircase and a walkway in front of the pillars. I'm going to be manicuring this whole area with trees as well, just to make it look as good as possible. Although one of the issues I had was the trees are so big and wonderful, they had to remove them to take the screenshot, and then put them back again, which was a real waste of time. But you can see I've put some stairways alongside the pillars, and those are going to help you get up into the bank. So let's continue building up these pillars, and don't those look good? We've got the walls on the outside, we've got some chiseled sandstone in the middle, and then the pillars taper at the top into a nice flat section to support a roof. And with a little bit more jiggery pokery and some fiendish activities, we've got a wonderful front of our building. You can see how the pillars turn into archways supporting the roof of the building. Two sets of sandstone stairs give a rather interesting indentation around the edge. But before I can show you the rest, let's go to a quick story.
Harold, you're a good man. I know you were a fine friend to Stonehelm and the dog, but look at how our town grows. Look how these lands flourish with Vikings docile and putting their sweat into your fields. Look how rapidly things are improving here when we focus not on cathedrals, but on our friends.
Okay, we're back and it's time to continue construction on our bank. As you can see, it doesn't have a roof, so that's probably going to be the next step. Although this bank is on the edge of the mountain, and if one were to climb that wall, they'd have a pretty good shot at stealing some gold. So we're definitely going to need some fortifications around the edge of the bank. But let's get back to construction by building a roof. You can see here the front entranceway. It's got 4 openings, 3 of which are going to be windows, and then the beginnings of a roof. It's made out of sandstone, and it's I think it's called a gable roof? Twin gable? I don't know. It's a roof, it's got an angle, there's 2 sides, it's like a cardboard box opening them up, and there would be gold inside, I think. Yeah. Anyway, we've got to extend this all the way back until the entirety of the bank is covered by roof. And I didn't want to do all of this with sandstone, so I swapped out for andesite for the back section of the roof. Doesn't that look good in the sunset? Here we go. We got the back section, we've got sandstone at the very back, and a few layers of sandstone, but it's mostly andesite. And I closed up the front section. So far, I'm really liking how this is coming together. added some lighting and some birch trapdoors as a little bit of a railing from the stone foundation, and then I added some detail on the upper section here, including 2 new doors. And at the back I added a andesite floor, which gives us a little bit of a balcony area. Not sure what we'd do with that, maybe put some arches up there. So the bank now has a bit of a footprint on the mountain. It's not too big so that we couldn't see our cathedral, but it looks pretty good. And I added some extra details, offsetting the walls by 1 block and adding some cut quartz for extra detail. I wasn't sure what to do with the door, so I called in a consult from Rainazufel or Stroopy. There we go, and working together we found a pretty cool solution to this door area, and then we added in some windows. I normally don't focus on interiors or doorways, so it was good to get some help with this. And so here we have it, 3 windows with moulding, and then a doorway with a archway around it, and some lighting. And that looks pretty good. But before I can show you the finished build with the screenshot disrupting trees, let's go to one last story segment.
レンジロー、この遅れで我々は大大な損害を被ったのに、あなたは部外者を連れて戻ってくるのですか？
皇帝陛下、私の長祖源が海賊に襲われたことをお許しください。
海賊ランダストンは人物に抱きてしまったのか？
海賊オーハ狂気の暴君にオルフ襲われた。
つまり私の娘たちは部外者の政治のせいで本州人の支配下で育つことになるのですか？
皇帝陛下、私たちは今鉄を手に入れました。まだ全てが失われたわけではありません。
間違いです、レンチローさん。昨日は2000人の兵士をつがいました。装備が不十分で側面の同種にを包囲できませんでした。イサムがすでに鍛造された武器を持ち帰ることができなかった場合、私ハモニントンという町に穀物を全部持ってイサムを送りました。桜島は陥落します。
So here we have it, the bank with the trees and all of the details. There's just one more thing left to add. I did mention some fortifications and castles around the edge of this, and we're going to be putting those in now. But before we do that, let's look at all these little details. We've got these flowers, these railings, these trees, these street lamps, and everything else in between. And now I think this bank looks pretty good. Let me know what you think of it so far in the comments down below. And now, finally, let's take a look at the castle I've added to protect it. It's a simple stone brick with some sandstone trim to match the bank, and it's got this cool flagpole at the top, and then at the bottom section of the wall, I've reinforced it just a tad. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this build. It's got quite a bit of detail at the front, and from the back it looks like quite the stable fortress. But speaking of stable fortresses, I hope this morning is an amazing foundation for the rest of your day. I hope that you can build upon this morning, or whenever you're watching this, and go forth with great fervour. Whether getting stuff done, having some fun, or anything in between, I hope you have the most wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of MorningCraft on Friday. If you're new around here, join the club and subscribe, and if not, thank you for sticking around for another episode. Here's a quote, hope it gives you some fuel for your day. See you next time, folks. Have a good one. Wah!